Ringside, it ends after 10 rounds. The winner by TKO victory, and still WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the world, El Boricua de Puerto Rico, Miguel Ángel.
One-time world champion, currently recognized as pound for pound, the best fighter in the world, Manny.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Social Connected 360 in the house with my co-host, Irving Hurricane Torres. We are back, folks. Listen, as you heard it, Manny Pacquiao is going to be fighting this summer, but we're excited, man. We got a long list of things to talk about. I mean, a lot of stuff happening in boxing. I thought it was going to be like this epic summer, and it's still going to be epic, but you know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, there's so many moving parts. Irving, how you been, man? How's everything going?
Doing good, brother. How about you?
Man, hanging in there, man. Over here, just a little away from home, but doing some other work for a government job, and just trying to finish up strong, but everything's good, man. How's everything in the home front?
Everything's pretty good. I'm waiting for you to come back so we could run that 5K. We had a little bet, right, the other day. A little agreement more so, and yeah, I'm gonna start running with you, so I'm excited for that.
Let's do it, bud. Let's do it, man. We could put Rocky music or something. I don't know, man. I've been training like I said before, man. We train like we're boxers, man. But you know, I have so much respect for the sport, obviously, and you know, running's a big thing when it comes to boxing. I don't know if I'm gonna have any legs left though after, you know, doing all the 5Ks, but yeah, man. So what's going on in boxing, dog? I mean, I love it. It's keeping the sport relevant, but there's a lot of fights that are not happening, a lot of fights that are happening. What's up with this Fury deal, man? Let's talk about that, because I know a lot of people.
I don't know, man.
What's your thoughts on the Fury and Wilder 3 deal, man? I know we all know what happened. The court said it's got to happen. And now we have Fury allegedly COVID-19, his camp.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're watching YouTube, you're watching all the evidence come out as far as like people still being at events and some of his camp team members out posting stories, posting videos, and you're like, wait a minute, they supposed to be quarantined and they're over here watching other fights. Like, this doesn't make sense. So now everything's coming out. I mean, what are your thoughts? Is it money? Is it him not being ready?
I'm not sure.
I heard he got rocked.
I'm not sure what's going on. I know that a few days ago, Teofomo used the same excuse. It seems like this COVID thing is that get out of jail free card that, you know, everybody's starting to use, or at least it seems that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I'm not sure if Tyson Fury contracted COVID. The report said that people in his team did. So you know how that goes. If anybody around you or anybody in your team gets it, then you're automatically canceled for safety purposes. But I don't know. I think there's more to that. I don't think it's the COVID thing. I think it's money. I think it's ticket sales, and a lot of it, you know, points to Fury, you know, maybe taking more time to get prepared for the fight. I mean, at least that's the feel that I'm getting. You know, but what do you think about it?
I mean, I think, well, I'm checking here for like boxingnews24.com. They're reporting that, and obviously this is legit, but Eddie Hearn was saying that it would be a financial disaster. That, you know, obviously, you know, with this is what they're saying. The fact that Wilder was just sitting at the press conference, he's wearing his headphones, not really selling the fight, right? These are the excuses. This was going back and forth, and they're saying that it would have been a financial debacle as far as the promoters go. But for them to use COVID-19, I mean, again, man, you know, this is some serious business. Like, this is serious. I understand there's money involved. Promoters don't want to lose $20 million. You know what I mean? They don't want to have to do that. And I get it. I get the financial aspect of it, but just be real. I mean, I get it. It doesn't look good when you're a promoter or you are you're trying to market this fight and it almost shows like you can't market the fight. And they're trying to say that people don't want to watch the fight. I want to watch the fight.
I want to watch the fight as well. Yeah. I was bummed out when I heard about it, but at the same time, I was kind of like, wait, what's going on here? You know, I mean, we've seen it in UFC with fights being canceled because of COVID. Now it kind of has gotten to the boxing world, and these are the two major fights, the Fury and obviously the Teofomo fight. But yeah, I'm bummed out, man, because I was excited to watch it, you know. So I think this delay, I mean, it could do one of two things, right? You know, the delay could make the fight bigger. You know, they can get their stuff together and actually sell the fight and make a bigger fight. Or it could get people uninterested and just like it could backfire on them. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. You know.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I know that there's a Delta variant. There's like variants of this COVID-19. And when Bob Arum comes out, straight from his mouth, I heard it. I mean, we could put it in the notes here if anybody wants to. Once we share this podcast, we'll put in the notes. But Bob Arum said that Fury has the COVID-19 vaccine.
Right.
Actually, he was talking and he was talking about, I think he mentioned Teofomo, that Teofomo didn't want to get it for health reasons or whatnot. You know what I mean? And that's neither here nor there, but why use that? You know what I'm saying? It's just, for me, man, like I said, I wanted to see the fight because of the controversy of the alleged cheating. And then we hear something crazy. We hear, not crazy because I'm sure it happens, but we hear that Jared Anderson, who got 9 wins, he's a young heavyweight, 6'4", kind of a smaller frame heavyweight, actually was sparring with Fury and freaking knocked him down or knocked him out. Or that's what, according to sources, they're saying that he rocked him or he knocked him out. And the kid's no joke. If you could check him out, Jared Anderson, 9-0, 9 KOs, a rising young heavyweight. So how much does that play into that?
Yeah, I think I think that sounds more credible than everything else, because in some of the interviews that you see Tyson Fury in, like his face looks like he's been getting worked on in sparring. Like you can see his lip busted up, his eye has a black eye, scratches all over his face. So I don't know if his team, kind of advised him, listen, hey, again, this is just speculating,
Yeah.
Hey, let's you're not looking that good in sparring. Let's take some time, and it definitely, if somebody gets hurt in sparring, gets knocked down or even knocked out, you need some time off. You definitely need some time to recover. You need that time to recover and let your body actually heal, So with that being said, if that was the case, and I've seen some sparring, there's some, you go onto YouTube and you can see Tyson Fury sparring, some sparring sessions. He does get hurt in sparring, so it wouldn't be surprising if he,
got laid up.
If he got hurt. So yeah, if he got hurt, he definitely should take some time off, because he's going to be boxing the hardest puncher in boxing, So.
And an angry dude too, trying to get back his titles and whatnot. I mean, listen, I will say this: I understand why you wouldn't air all this. It just doesn't make sense for marketing. You're not going to say, was, you're just going to let people speculate and then just let time go, and then people will move on to something else and we'll talk about something else. I get it. I understand. You're not going to air all your dirty laundry. You're not going to air all the business out there. But, at the end of the day, and I also understand this, like Fury's getting ready for Joshua, right? All of a sudden the courts are like, no, right? Because I read that. I read that he was getting ready to fight Joshua, right? Like the contracts were talking, they were getting ready to sign these contracts so that they could fight, right? And then all of a sudden the court says, nope, you're gonna fight Wilder. So now you start a training camp for Joshua. And again, they're gonna use this as an excuse, you know what I mean? But it's pretty legit, right? Because you're fighting a whole different fighter, right? An entirely different fighter, an orthodox fighter, as opposed to Joshua, who's kind of more systematic and not as wild. But it's a different training camp, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
So in Fury's defense, I could see him saying, "Well, I wasn't even ready to fight this guy." You know what I'm saying? And everything was rushed and it was like back and forth. So, but yeah, I'm bummed, man. I'm bummed that. Do you think, just to end on this, do you think that fight's ever going to happen?
I think so. I just think they need time to get their stuff together, get ready. I think Fury senses something more serious than the previous two fights. So I think he needs to take more time to get ready for the fight. So
yeah,
I think that's it. But it's all speculation.
I agree. And then also, just to end on that, if he did cheat, because he's known for that. Let's be real. He's known to push the limits, right? I'm not a Fury hater. Okay. I enjoy watching him. I think he's good for boxing. I think these guys are good for boxing, but there's some guys that fight a certain way and they push the limits. And so if he knows he pushed the limits and he knows he's going to be watched now, those limits ain't going to be able to be pushed. Then maybe, there's also that aspect as well. So anyhow, 180, we're going to go all the way down to the 130-pound, Gary Russell Jr., man, calling out Oscar Valdez, Tank Davis, all of a sudden, you know what it is, and you can give your take, but the dude needs to get paid. He's been putting in work.
Gary Russell, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
he's the longest reigning champion in boxing, and he has a hard time getting big fights, and so and he has the right to call out everybody that he wants, especially the big names, and he should get those fights, but being a free agent, you get yourself in that situation where you can't get promoted like like these other guys do, with lesser records.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good fight, man. Oscar Valdez, champ. I think that clash of styles. I think it would be a good fight.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young fighters in this weight class, man, and a lot of fighters actually. So, but Gary Russell, the thing I like about Gary Russell is he hasn't ducked people. I mean, he's really good competition. I mean, he held his own against Lomachenko.
Right.
I mean, look good at times, but Lomachenko makes 99% look bad. But yeah, man, I want to see him. I would pay pay-per-view to see him fight Tank Davis, no doubt. That would be, and the build up to that fight, because they're both like talkers like that, like talking, they just talk a lot of shit. Like I'm telling you, bro. Because Gary Russell, he knows he's a champ. He's been a champ for a long time, so he knows he's the man. And then Tank Davis coming off like some big knockouts, he's ready to knock some more people out.
Yeah.
So
it would be a fan favorite in the aspect of just a casual fan, the casual boxing fan, because there's going to be a lot of boxing, and then when there's a lot of boxing, the fights tend to be quote unquote boring,
Yeah.
So the majority of Floyd Mayweather's fights were boring because he boxed.
Yeah.
But to those who actually, you know, are fanatics of, you know, of boxing, analyze boxing, that's the masterpiece. That's the stuff that we love to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be a very precise fight, you know, fight that at times would be exciting, but for the majority of the fight, it would be, you know, boring. But I think it's a fight that should be made. Gary Russell and Tank, you know, two of the best, the little guys, they should go at it.
Yeah. I mean, that weight class is stacked. I mean, we talked about it earlier. That weight class is just that's where it's at, man, when it comes to matching people up. I mean, I saw Ryan Garcia on YouTube this past week. He's actually training again with Canelo in Canelo's gym. And so we'll see what happens, man. You know, again, I want to see these guys, but you know, there's some guys that just like, and we're gonna get into it, but with Teofomo, you know, you want to see these guys so bad. And it's almost like, I wonder if they have conversations with their promoters or with their fathers or with their team, like, nah, you know, if you give them too much, they're gonna get used to you.
Yeah.
You know, that type of stuff. Kind of like music or movie artists, like they disappear for a period of time and then they come back. It's like, oh, I want to watch that, you know. So we don't know what happens behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah, it comes down to that free agent thing now. There's free agent in boxing. They don't belong to, they're not signed under no big promotion, Top Rank, PBC, Showtime.
Yeah.
Or you know, Golden Boy. But I think that, you know, I think they changed their mind with the Teofomo, the whole Teofomo thing. I think they changed their mind. They said that they would never give Lomachenko a rematch.
Yeah.
But now you saw his dad in the Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, they don't even want to waste their time with Kambosos, but we're gonna get into that one.
So,
we're gonna get
yeah, they could get paid with that Lomachenko fight, you know. So I think they're changing their mind. They're like, wait a second, you know, let's fight Lomachenko again. And if it's a good fight, there'll be a trilogy.
Yeah.
So he'll make most of his money there.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
what real money would he make with Kambosos, you know? So, you know, and then the cards would be stacked against him if he does take the Kambosos fight, because he has to go down to Australia now.
Yeah.
You know, and he's in somebody else's backyard when he's used to fighting in his hometown, you know. So there's a lot of variance, you know, with what's going on and what fights to take. Yeah. So I think that's what's going on with that guy, man. I told you, you know what, man, you were a big fan of Teofomo, man. And I kept telling you, I don't know about this guy, but I'm not a Teofomo hater. I love, you know, his style and all that, but you know, the antics behind the persona and all that.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, I say this on a lot of the episodes, and even when we talk just in general, man, when you come over, I go to your house, we watch boxing or we talk to other people. Like, when are we ever going to get back to a point where legacy is where it's at? Like, you look at Manny, man, don't care about his 6-7 losses. I don't even know. He got like 6 or 7 losses or something like that. He don't care. He does not care about those. I mean, yes, he doesn't want to lose, but he wants to fight the best. And in order to get to a point where you could have 6 losses and people still look at you like they do a Manny, where like, this guy's a legend, right? With 6 or 7 losses, where have you seen that? Like, back in the day, you had 2 losses or something. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you kind of were like, you know, this guy has 1 loss or he's undefeated. But again, and if they did have 2 or 3, 4 losses, it was because they fought guys 2 or 3 times, and it was like they won, they lost, they won, they lost, right? And they were making those trilogy fights, right? Those epic, you know, part 4 or whatever, you know. So I wonder when that's going to come back to boxing. And I know that money and everything else, all the complexities and the weight classes and all that stuff, all the belts, I know that plays a big role. You know. Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get back to that era, you know, or to that part in boxing, because it's all about making money now. You know, nobody takes, well, I'm not going to say nobody. There's a few boxers that still have that old school mentality. I think Errol Spence is one of them. And you know, and you see that he's willing to fight the best. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao, obviously. But yeah, you know, it's a different era. You know, everybody wants to promote themselves. They have a big, you know, backing with social media now, so they can make millions. I mean, look at Jake Paul, man. You know, there's a guy that, you know, for 3-4 fights, and he's making more than some legends have ever made in their entire life. You know, so yeah, it's a different era, different time. It's kind of weird when you've grown up in a different era, just like in any other sport as well. You see the differences. So I think that we'll never get back to it, and I hope, I wish that we could, but I just see boxing going in a completely different direction when it comes to that. The best fighting the best.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned them. We can go right into it. So I watched Jake Paul again. He's trolling Canelo, man. Like, this guy really wants to die. I mean, no, he doesn't. I don't mean it like that. But if you're in the ring with Canelo right now, and he knows, like, and I don't think he'll ever take that fight. I mean, I just don't think he would ever want to hurt that kid. But he's really trolling Canelo, man. And I'm like, yo, this dude, is he a marketing genius? Does he want to stay relevant so much that he will put himself in a situation? Would he actually ever step into that ring with Canelo? Like, are you serious? Like, with no fights against any real boxers. But what do you think on that, man?
I don't think Canelo would ever give him the chance. You know, like, he wouldn't give him the time, you know, because Canelo is one of those few boxers, I think, that has that old school mentality where he's chasing legacy more than the money. The money is a benefit, you know, and that's rare to see, you know, in boxing. Only a few boxers do that, where the money is a consequence of them chasing, you know, the legacy and becoming champions in multiple divisions and all that. But yeah, man, Jake Paul, he really believes it. I mean, he saw his brother, you know, go 8 rounds with the best boxer, you know, arguably ever, you know. So he thinks he probably thinks he's like, I'm better than my brother. Yeah. You know, and Mayweather beat Canelo. So I could get in there in 3 years, you know, I could get in there with him and you know, and at least lose a decision to him, you know. So I think that's the mentality. And then plus he wants to make millions of dollars as well, you know.
That would sell a lot of fight. That would sell a lot of people. I mean, because you're going to bring all of Canelo and the people that hate Jake, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they're going to buy it. And then all of the YouTube followers that he has that want to see him become this entity, right? And I think it would make money. But yeah, I think you're right. But on that point, let's talk about the real deal. Canelo versus Plant. Again, another fight that was supposed to happen. I guess they were really close. And then you have Al Haymon. And I guess there's some talk behind the scenes that they wanted to sign a 3-fight deal. And of course, you know, we know Canelo's a free agent, right? What's your thought on that? You think that fight's going to happen or what?
I don't think it's going to happen next. I think Canelo is looking at Benavidez and Bivol at light heavyweight. I think I think that's a better fight for him. So I think that they're going to do that. Maybe Plant take a fight in between, because I don't see that fight really selling with Plant as well. And then Plant is, what did he want? He wanted something like 11 million or something like that.
It was a crazy amount.
It was a crazy amount, you know. We understand his skill set and what he's done in boxing, you know what I mean? To become a champ and just a certain amount of fights, you know. But yeah, it's all about marketing. Again, it's all about marketing. I think Canelo has a better it's a better marketing deal for him to go up and fight at light heavyweight. You know, oh, Canelo's skipping up weight classes. Now he's champ at light heavyweight.
Yo, there's so many people hating on him right now. There's so many people hating on him for doing this stuff.
Yeah. Haters are always going to be around. Yeah.
Crazy. I think do you think it's easier for him to go up in weight? You don't have to lose all that weight, or what do you think?
I don't think cutting weight is a problem for him now. But I think that the fight is easier at light heavyweight. They're harder punchers, but they're not as skilled as Plant.
Yeah, no.
You know, I'm not taking anything away from Plant. Plant is skilled. He's a skilled fighter. I just don't think he could beat Canelo because Canelo's at his peak right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's easier. And Canelo's a businessman, and he's very methodical in what he does in his matchmaking and all that. So it makes sense for him to go up and fight one of those two quote unquote like monsters at light heavyweight, and get a title at light heavyweight, and then fight again at 168 or wherever they're gonna fight at.
Well, and that's funny. I think that makes sense. But I saw this last week. Again, there's so many people calling each other out. Everybody wants to make money. I get it. Canelo said that he'll fight Spence if Spence moves up.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. I don't know if Spence is going to move up, though, all the way to 160, maybe a catch weight between 160 and 168. I mean, I think Spence is more skilled than Canelo, but I don't think he's as strong.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a good move for Spence. I think Spence could still make a lot of noise and make a lot of money at 147, 154. So. Yeah, I mean, it's all marketing, man. Like, of course, they're gonna call each other out. That puts their stock up. When two big names are pulled together and there's this headline made. But I think Spence should stay down. I don't think he wants anything up there.
So on a funny note, would you pay to watch De La Hoya come out of retirement because he calling out Canelo too? Everybody wants a piece of Canelo. Would you pay for that fight? De La Hoya versus Canelo.
Pay for it? No. No, I mean, come on, man. Like, De La Hoya is like 10 years past his prime, 10, 15 years past his prime.
Do you think the people will pay for it?
Huh?
Do you think the people would pay for it?
I mean, of course, the people would buy a Jake Paul fight and a Logan Paul fight, man. Like they'd buy anything nowadays. But
yeah, you're right.
I think that hurts boxing more than anything, man. But who knows?
I don't know, man. You come to my house. I think I'll pay for that fight. I want to see because De La Hoya.
If you pay for that fight, man,
you come to my house. You bring the pizza.
I'll buy the pizza.
I mean, I don't know what he's. I think he's just like, again. I think he's just doing what the younger generation is doing. Basically, just trying to create energy with the things that they say and the calling out and all that stuff. I think he's trying to use that to market to stay relevant, right?
Right.
Keep Golden Boy relevant. Obviously, we know Canelo and him kind of split up, and there was some back and forth, and there's still some back and forth, and then the whole weirdness of Ryan Garcia with Golden Boy, and then he trains with Canelo. Like, that's all awkward. It's just I think it's just to stay relevant. I don't think that'll ever happen. Now, I think he will fight maybe somebody. I thought he was going to fight Mayweather, just as an expedition or something. But for him to come and the way that he speaks, man, he's just like, he does his little smile like, yeah, I'll fight him. I'll knock him out. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? What are you sleeping? Like, you're crazy, man. You crazy. So, so let's talk about Devin Haney, man. Apparently, DAZN Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney's with DAZN, and apparently he might become a free agent or something like that is what I heard. Or DAZN. It's DAZN. So apparently he might become a free agent, But they're saying that, you know, obviously Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofomo, Tank. I mean, like I said, that weight class is stacked. What's next for those guys, man?
Yeah. I mean, they should all mix it up, man. Like right now,
the tournament of champions.
Seen, yeah, we haven't, like a tournament or something, you know, like back in the day, the Super 6 middleweight, you know, when they had Jermaine Taylor and all those guys, Bernard Hopkins and all those big names. I think they should do that. I think they should do a little tournament, you know, 135.
That's great.
And you know what name we leave out a lot too, because those guys can move up and fight Josh Taylor, the unified or undisputed champion at 140.
Oh, and that new kid, not the new kid, but Rivera, the Ali kid.
Yeah. Him too.
He's actually said he called out both of them already. Ryan Garcia and Teofomo.
Yeah. Jojo Diaz.
Jojo Diaz, another one.
Yeah, Jojo Diaz just had a big win over Javier Fortuna.
Michelle Rivera, that's his name.
That's a good weight class, man. I think they should all get, you know, like somebody should do something and to make it like a tournament, you know. And then again, you know, it's not what the promoters, you know, it's not going to benefit the promoters financially, you know, but
they're all protecting their interests. So, you know, when you have the interest of that fighter on your side, you want to have those 5 fight deals, you know, and you want to have some big knockouts like what's happening with Tank. So they're doing it the right way. I mean, and as far as the promotion and the marketing of their fighter, like with Tank, I thought it was going to be a debacle. It turns out that Mayweather Promotions is really setting up some good stuff, and apparently they're selling some good pay-per-views and some good showtime and some good, you know what I mean? Like they're making it happen. So and he's performing. So it's like a good mix.
Right.
So we'll see what happens, man. I just like, you know, Devin Haney. I think you know, obviously with him possibly becoming a free agent and going with another, I guess, promotion entity. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know.
He should learn from what's happening to Teofomo right now. So Teofomo went free agent, and then he signed a little deal with Triller, and look at what's happening with that. So, you know, there's some things to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think when you do that, like, see, Canelo's, we keep going back to him, but he's not the typical example because he's Canelo. He's already became this mega superstar legend. Right. So for him to be on his own, he can hold that up. Right. Now you have Teofomo, you come off the biggest win of your career and you start talking about you're going to take over everything. Right. We're going to take over. You just had a big win and we're proud of you. That's great. You know, you surprised us all. It was a great victory.
Big upset.
I think you kind of like ticked off the boxing world that we don't see from behind the scenes, like who this kid thinks he's gonna take over, and so that stuff that we don't know. You know what I mean? Right. The boxing world behind what we see is probably different than what obviously we think we know. You know what I mean?
Right.
On that note, Teofomo Kambosos, another big fight. I heard Kambosos say that Teofomo actually has COVID or had COVID, and that he's asthmatic. But now we see that fight might not happen.
Yeah. Again, I think that they're just looking for that Lomachenko fight. I think they don't want to miss the opportunity. The cards are stacked against him. You know, he has to go to Australia, otherwise he's going to vacate the belts. Right? Those are the reports.
The reports are saying that he's willing to let the belts go, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. You know,
destroy this dude. Like what we've seen you do against Teofomo.
Right.
I mean, against Lomachenko. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, what was that? What was the question?
No. What I was saying is Why would you vacate all those belts? I mean, it's crazy to me. Like we seen you, in my opinion, Kambosos is just a walk in the park, in my opinion, because he hasn't proven anything.
Right. I mean, it's hard to say, man. Like, I haven't really watched. I know he got 2 good wins. His last 2 fights, but yeah, I think that Teofomo, it's a I don't know if a guaranteed win, because this guy is confident. You know, we've seen him. Maybe he saw something in his eyes that, you know, was like, hold up, what's going on?
Nah, man,
I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure, because it's everything that's going on is strange. You know, like you're gonna vacate all the belts, because you don't want to go to Australia and fight this guy. You know, like you don't want to go to his hometown, and if anything, that's gonna solidify your legacy. You know, you're gonna go over there and then, you know, and beat this guy over there. Maybe he saw what happened with the Pacquiao and Horn fight. Remember when Pacquiao went and lost to Horn, and that was, you know, obviously a robbery. Maybe he's using that, or he thinks about that. He's probably thinking about, I'm not sure what he's thinking, but you know, or maybe he sees an opportunity with Lomachenko. He doesn't want to let it go.
I think it has to do with ticket sales. That's what I think. My opinion.
Yeah, they're not selling it. They're not selling how they thought it was.
Or Kambosos came out and said, look, the dude's asthmatic. He had COVID. He's not getting any better. He knows he'll lose the fight. He's going to gas out because he's asthmatic. And we don't know what COVID-19, like I've heard from the CDC, I've heard from, you know, doctors, but we don't know what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? So if it is COVID-19 and he does have asthma, and it kind of like, what do you call that? Makes it the asthma worse. And then when you're training, like you're going through these rounds, you're like, you don't feel right. So it could be that too, you know?
Yeah. We saw Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell had COVID right before the camp. So, and there was some reports saying that, or some people in his training camp saying that, you know, that was one of the reasons why he wasn't able to perform at his peak level against Ryan Garcia. So, you know, it affects everybody differently, especially if you're asthmatic. So that's something that, you know, that if I think is going to affect him, he should definitely wait, or, you know, and get healthy before taking a fight.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, man. God bless, like I said, but I'm like, again, I was looking forward to see that fight. I was looking forward to seeing the Fury fight. I'm afraid now that every time I open up the news and every time I open up YouTube, I'm going to see another canceled fight. Like, is it because of what they're saying? Because Fury now, all of a sudden, he came out with a statement today, didn't mention anything about his health, looked healthy. You can watch it on YouTube. It's on YouTube, but like, I want to watch these fights. Like, I understand it's about money, you know, ticket sales and pay-per-view sales and all that stuff. And they gotta make money, but then we're never going to have fights again. It's crazy. It's crazy. So on that note, let's do some recaps, man, real quick. And then we're going to talk about 2 fights that are coming up. One this weekend and then one next weekend, which is a local fighter, just to remind everybody. So what's up with this? What was your thoughts on the Diaz Fortuna fight, man?
Yeah, Jojo Diaz fought a good fight, man. He you know, he got cut early in the fight, but I think he did real well, man. I think that was probably one of his best performances against like one of the better opponents that he's had. I expected a little bit more from Javier Fortuna, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm happy for Jojo Diaz. And now he's calling out, you know, 2 big names at 135. You know, I hope to see him fight one of those guys, Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney or any other guys. So yeah. I mean, I think what we're seeing with Fortuna is that he's finally realizing that,
he's not the guy now. And I think it's kind of like in basketball when you get drafted in the first round, or you get drafted top 10, and then you get to the league, and you had a great career. I mean, you got 36 wins. Great opponent, champion. But I think it kind of plays with you a little bit, right? So it's like you get drafted number 3, and you go to play an NBA game, and you're only scoring like 10 points a game. Right?
Yeah.
You start realizing that when you were in college and you were averaging 27, in high school you were averaging 33, you start realizing that this is a whole different level. Not to diminish Fortuna. I mean, this freaking guy had a great career. But I think right now the levels are peaking right now. You know what I'm saying? As far as that weight class is just on a whole different level.
Yeah, I think he's a little past his prime too. I think maybe 3-4 years ago, he was at his peak, but the whole cancellation of because Ryan Garcia was supposed to fight him, so I think, extending camp and just losing the motivation and all that. And then the punching power isn't as big as it wasn't at 126. I think Javier Fortuna is still he's a good opponent for a rising prospect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll see. Fight, like I said, I think that would have been a good fight for Ryan Garcia, man. I think whatever was happening with him, I see that he's back. But I'm the same way, man. It was a good fight. A lot of just, it was going back and forth. Very active fight. But obviously Jojo put it off on that aspect. So then we have Suldo, who put on a wonderful performance last week. And what's your thoughts on that, man? He reminds me of Benavidez.
Yeah. He's
like him. It's weird.
He's fourth round knockout. He dropped him 3 times in the fight, body shots. He showed a whole display of his skills, of his arsenal. Yeah, I think he's and then he called out the big guys at light heavyweight. Benavidez, Devol. So he wants those guys, man. He wants that strap at light heavyweight, and I think he's ready. I think he could convincingly beat both of those guys. Yeah, obviously, if he doesn't get caught, because the power's there. But he's good. Southpaw, rangy, very skillful. Yeah, I like him. I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too. As you know, I like the style, of course. I like the smoothness, man. Like, just very smooth with it. Systematic. Lanky too, man. It's just that power with that lankiness, man. Just that, oh my gosh, something great to see. I mean, that was a great fight. We have a couple fights coming up this weekend, and then next week. If you want to talk about a little bit about Charlo versus Castaño, what's your thoughts on that fight?
I think quick and easy, man. I think Charlo makes quick work of him. Castaño's a tough dude, but again, I think Charlo's at his peak. He's in his prime, and I think he's gonna get him out of there by knockout.
Yeah, I think so too. I think obviously this is not. I wouldn't say it's a tuna fight because the guy's legit. Obviously a legit fighter. He's unbeaten, right? And we just never know, man. That's it. We talk about it all the time. On all these episodes so far, you just never know in boxing. I mean, a star can be born with one shot or a great performance. Right. Somebody comes off on an off night, unexpected. The guy just a better style, or just like they say, styles win. Sometimes they affect the fight. But I do think Charlo, obviously. I don't know. I think it goes the distance.
Give me a prediction. Oh, okay. So you think it goes the distance?
And I think it's I think he's gonna win 10 out of the 12 rounds.
I'm gonna predict a 6-round knockout. Okay. Charlo, 6-round knockout.
Gotcha.
Come back to it.
All right. So last but not least, just a quick reminder, just because, you know, we love our local fighters, man. We love them. We wish them the best. Don't forget, Martino is fighting Arum scheduled for July 24th. Okay. So more to come on that. It's on our last episode, but I just wanted to put that out just because, you know, we want to show support to our local fighters. And, you know, obviously, I know the Adorno brothers are going to be fighting again. Jonathan's going to be fighting again. There's a lot of local fighters, and shout out to them. So, yeah, man, a lot of moving parts, you know, when it comes to boxing. And we're here to just give our opinion, and I think it's great that, you know, we have these shows, and obviously I respect you, my brother, because you're always you know, you're very knowledgeable even with the history of boxing and everything. So I appreciate it, man. It is what it is, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Appreciate for you having me on, man. I love the boxing talk.
All right, everybody. There you have it. SC360 Boxing Series. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on every platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I mean, you name it, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, I mean, Facebook. This episode will premiere tomorrow. It is what it is. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Like I always say, stay connected.